point out, we'll get bills that you wouldn't believe, record setters. But so I think 75, 25 with the government, the federal government paying 75. And we'll go right through to the, I think go right through, probably either go through Commerce, maybe go through Marco, because Marco's very good with money. I don't think I'm going to give him to the environmental gentleman, Lee Zeldin here, because Lee's going to say, what's this all about, huh? They gave me this too. You have found some big stuff, by the way, some big fraud. You have, as he said, this one's not even explainable. We're talking about billions of dollars, so great job, Lee. Really, it's sad, but it's a great job you've done in a very short period of time. But I think Marco or Scott or Howard, and if wherever Howard may be, we want to congratulate him. He did it was a great session. He got no Democrat votes. I thought he's been a Democrat all his life, and he got no Democrat votes. They all called him to apologize. And, you know, honestly, that shouldn't be. But he got approved yesterday. But today I'm delighted to welcome America's governors to the White House. And I've known many of you for a long, long time. And this week we're forging even stronger bonds of cooperation to better serve the American people. I also want to thank the members of my cabinet who have joined us for this meeting, and they really have gone right off the bat. And I also want to thank Senator Thune, because I'm hearing we set a record on approvals, and I was screaming. I thought it was going so slowly. I think we have a record. So I apologize to anybody I screamed at. But no, it was announced this morning. I think we had a record for the number of positions, so that's great, and they're great people. So I'll begin by introducing Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He scares me because he got 99 votes. So that's either unbelievably good, because he's an incredible diplomat and therefore he's Secretary of State and you couldn't have picked it, or I'm a little nervous about you, Marco. And the only vote he didn't get was our vice president, who couldn't vote because he had just left. So you got 100%. But it really says something. I think it says working together. It's an amazing tribute, I think. I'll let you know about it. I'll let you know about it in about 2 years, everybody. Marco's been great, and he's been in some big meetings with people at the highest level of states that we would say, states meaning other countries that we would have said wouldn't have dealt so well, but they're dealing very well. You have a great group of people with Steve Witkoff and Michael Waltz, and we're making amazing progress. I mean, we've made more progress on that situation, which is Ukraine, than they have in 3 years. Again, it's so sad that it began, but we're also working very hard in the Middle East. Another one that wouldn't have happened, we would never have had, you wouldn't have had October 7th. They had no money, Iran was broke. We had sanctions up on Iran that nobody's ever seen before. They were literally broke, and they were not giving any money to Hezbollah, to Hamas. And how about Hamas yesterday with the babies? How about that, you know? We're going to take that. We're going to continue to take that? I don't think so. But I want to just thank you, Marco, for doing a great job. And Scott, you also. Scott went all the way to Ukraine. I said, don't do it. That's why they have telephones. But look, it's always better to meet in person. But I just didn't feel that it was good. And it was dangerous. You saw things on that train ride that you didn't like, I understand. You know, it's a pretty dangerous ride. A long ride. How long was that?
10 hours.
10-hour ride? That's after you get there. And a very dangerous journey, but he wanted to do it. He's a patriot. He wanted to do it. It's better to do it than it is with a telephone. Always better. I always say it's much better to meet in person, but that was dangerous. I like him. Therefore, I didn't want him to do it. If I didn't like him, I would have suggested he do it. In fact, I'd say, go back today and let's give it another shot. But I hear that they're going to agree pretty much with what. But that's not the big thing. The big thing is getting it done. And we'll get it done. Also, somebody who's been so popular right from the beginning, very, very little opposition, but she's fantastic. She was the Attorney General of Florida for 8 years, highly respected, and just an amazing person, amazing leader and woman, Pam Bondi. Good, Pam. How's it going? Good? You got enough work? You got a lot of work over there, I'll tell you, man. She's going to be unbelievable. I don't even think about it. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum. And Doug, I don't know if Doug's here, he was last night. Oh, good. You just disappear right into the woodwork, huh? Doug is a man who made a lot of money, actually, but in technology, sold to Microsoft for a lot, and decided he wanted to do a Trump thing, and he did, and he won easily. And he became a great governor of North Dakota, and really good. And he was all of a sudden thrown into the oil business, right? And he took that to a level that nobody ever thought possible. The job you've done there has been amazing. And I watched he ran. Then I said, I like that guy. He was one of the few that didn't hit me. He was after my position, but he never said anything bad about me. I said, okay, that's one checklist that we have good. You know, it's one of the ones. But he was an amazing governor, and he really became an expert on energy. And when I was with him, I realized I wanted him someplace. I didn't know exactly where, but I thought it would be the Department of Energy. I kept talking because the state has done so well. And I said, look, I want you to just hold it, and I want to put you there. He said, sir, I have somebody much better than me on energy. Who? Chris Wright. I said, who the hell is Chris Wright? He said, is Chris here? I don't even know. Is Chris here? Hello, Chris. Boy, am I giving him some build-ups. I did the same thing last night. But he's the top guy in the whole, they say, on the planet for energy, in all forms of energy. Even clean, beautiful coal that we're going to be using like Germany does now. They're opening up a plant a week. And they're opening up in China more than, somebody told me, 2 plants a week, you know, but we're supposed to use the wind, which doesn't work. Doesn't work from a practical standpoint. But I just want to welcome you because you had the greatest man. When he said, you're probably the only man, because I know Doug, he's got a big ego. And you're the only man I've actually heard him say something. He said, he's so much better than me on energy, he's better than anybody. And so we made a move, and you gave up a tremendous position to do this. And we want to thank you, but we have to get going because when we bring the energy costs down, we have more energy than anybody in the world. We just didn't use it. Can you imagine? Biden set us up in Venezuela instead of taking ours, so that we go to Venezuela where they'd have very heavy stuff. And we have the best stuff in the world. We have more liquid gold, and it's really great liquid gold, too. We have more under our feet than anybody else. But we went to Venezuela to buy oil instead of taking it from our own land and, you know, drilling a little hole in the ground. About, how big is that hole? About a foot? About a foot, yeah. We drill a little tiny hole, and we could have taken it instead of all of the problems. And then we've made Venezuela strong again. You know, they've given them a lot of money. They never thought they were going to have so much money, and all the people are leaving. So you're going to have one guy sitting there with a lot of oil under his feet. That's not a good situation, but we're having talks about that whole mess. What a mess. That was another one that was done. He was ready to quit. He was going to be out. Marco, you know that better than anybody. Marco's been very staunch against what took place there. And we were going to have that in any form we wanted it. But Biden made them strong. It was the worst administration in history, and I say that with a lot of Democrats, but I think you believe it too. You can't say it, but you believe it. But I just want to thank you, and if you get those prices down, you know, that's what caused inflation, the energy, I mean, the spending, but I think even more so the energy. The energy went up, they stopped the oil leases, they stopped a lot of things that we were doing, and then they went back to what we were doing as much as they could because the prices were going through the roof. Remember that initial surge? It was brutal. And they went back, they let any rig that we had up just drill, you know, and they ended up doing similar numbers, but we wouldn't have been at those numbers. We would have been double or triple those numbers. Those were from years ago. But energy caused our problem. But I just want to thank you for recommending him. And what we've done is he's the head of Department of Energy. He's the Interior. And it's really screwy because the Department of the Interior has all the energy other than some nuclear energy that you're in charge of. But he has all the energy, has all the land, all the great places, best. We have more than any other country in the world. And he's in charge of it. The problem is he can't drill. And he drills, but he has no land. So what do? We said, I have an idea, let's merge them. So we merged them intellectually. I don't know if we did it legally, but we did it intellectually. So now he gives up the land and he gives up the drillers, and you're going crazy, right? You're going wild, and you'll do it beautifully, environmentally well, Lee. We'll make sure. But we have a lot of things, but we had emerged. I always wondered, why doesn't the energy department do more? And they did do more because they don't have any energy. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. We'll probably have to make maybe even a change in that, somehow merge them or do something, because it's pretty tremendous what you're going to be able to do. Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins, who's so fantastic, and she's been at the head of so many different things and loyal from the beginning. She even opened up when we had a rather shocking defeat. She opened up we call it an institute. I've never seen anybody raise money like her. She raised hundreds of millions of dollars on this fabulous thing. But I said, look, we want to win another race because I think it's really important to win twice. And I won 3 times, if you think about it. So but it's only the Republicans smile when I say it happens to be true. But Brooke has been amazing, and it was really tough because this last election, I go to a person and say, sir, I just gave you $10 million. Oh, where did you give it to? I gave it to Brooke. You gave it to Brooke. She's spending it on policy. We don't have to worry about policy. We have to worry about getting elected, right? But Brooke is fantastic, and she's done such a good job, and she's Make America Great Again, top of the line, right? And she's going to, and what I didn't know, and as soon as I found out, I said, that's that. That's what she studied, agriculture. She knows everything about it, and she's going to be a fantastic secretary, and you'll do something with the eggs, because I'm hearing so much about eggs. You'll figure it out. You got to figure something out fast. But, and we inherited all of the problems. At some point, a few months down the road, we won't be able to say it's so much us. But the big things, really, we can blame other people for, to allow criminals into our country at levels that nobody's ever seen before, to allow people from jails, to have countries from all over the world be allowed to empty jails into an open border. They emptied jails and prisons, mental institutions, insane asylum, gang members, drug lords, drug people on drugs, people that are very sick. They allowed them to come into our country totally unchecked, unvetted. And right now we have a great gentleman, Tom Homan, who's doing an unbelievable job, and Christine Ohm. They're doing a great job, but it's something we should have never had to be done. And you see the levels of crime that these are serious. They make our criminals look nice, I'll tell you. That's the only thing we get out of it. Our criminals are very nice people by comparison. These are seriously tough people. The various gangs, whether it's MS-13 or the Venezuelan gangs, they're as tough as, nobody's ever seen toughness like this. Secretary of Health and Human Services, nobody knows this particular gentleman. He sailed right through. I thought he'd get a lot of, I said, well, he's going to get a lot of Democrat votes, Ron. I said, he's going to be an easy one, right? I told Ron DeSantis, I said, this one's going to be so easy. He's going to get all those Democrat votes. I don't know. You thank goodness for the Republicans, right? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And where is Bobby? Where is Bobby? So congratulations. Was that as easy as you thought? Just quit. Well, in the end, they all voted for him. He did pretty well. You got through. But, we have one stat that I quote, the autism stat. And you hear different numbers, but it's thousands. They say between 10 and 20,000. So if you go back 15 years ago, we had like nobody. It was 1 in 20,000. Now we have 1 in 34. Is that right? 34. So 34 or 36 kids have autism. And if you go back, I guess 18 years, that whenever that was done, it was 1 in 20,000. So we got from 20,000 to 34, 36. That's unbelievable. So there's something wrong. There's something wrong. We've done something wrong. There's something, you're going to figure it out. Maybe it's a spray that we spray all over the place that nobody else does. Other countries don't. The Pennsylvania Dutch, they don't do anything, and they're amazingly healthy. And he understands. He's working with Dr. Oz, who's a really smart guy. I know him very well. And those two guys are going to figure out, and they're also going to figure out why in the United States we pay $1,300 for a drug, one that we were talking about, and in London they pay, literally they pay $200, even less. $88 I heard in one case yesterday. They pay $88, we pay $1,300 for the exact same drug from the exact same factory, from the same plant where it's made. We've got to figure that out. So I hope you focus really a lot on the cost too, because Americans are being screwed, and it's no good. They're not going to put up with it. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, another one I know very well. He's going to be fantastic, Scott Turner. So Scott, congratulations. Man, oh man, you are something. He got up and we had a great meeting yesterday, right? He got up and spoke. He's a good speaker, that one. And everybody loves you. Everybody knows you. Great guy. You're going to do fantastic. Well, you got a good recommendation from Ben Carson.